My name's Matt the Hat, Matthew Poulton. I run the shop, Discovery Music, 10 till 5, Monday to Saturday. If you're nice, I'll make you a cup of tea. 25 years this year, quarter of a century, long time. But I love it all. It's just great. It's a pleasure. Never take for granted making a living, earning a living out of something I love doing. It's just wonderful. I've never thought of myself as skilled. I failed everything at college, never went to university. You know, I didn't even open the results when I got them through in a letter, like, for a few days, because it didn't mean anything to me at all. All I wanted to do was run a second-hand record shop, like, and that wasn't taken seriously when you're a 15-year-old picking your options at secondary school. I just like looking at records and talking to people about records. That was my big piece of good fortune, was finding something I was passionate about at a very young age. So right through my teens, I was never really into the same things that teenagers normally are, the normal, everyday, you know, partying, all that sort of stuff. I just love records. One of the reasons I started hitchhiking was to get to record shops and record fairs in Bristol and Exeter and things like that. It was almost like a self-imposed apprenticeship in a way. I didn't think of it like that, but it was, I gained the knowledge for what I needed to have, gain the knowledge I needed to have to be able to then start running a second-hand record shop, which I did for somebody else, a guy called Peter Christie in Bideford. And then I opened up my own place downstairs here in Barnstable in 2001, and which was always my desire to have my own place, just concentrating on music, records. So eventually I ended up doing exactly what I wanted to do, my living the dream, as they call it, like, you know, which people sometimes shout at me as if they're taking the mick, and I think, well, yeah, I am. What's wrong with that? Like, you know, Record Store Day was great when it started up. It was a good idea, run for the right reasons, to promote independent record shops, independent record companies, releases, just to give us a little bit more of a leg up, to remind people that we're still out here, still putting records out. There's never been a time when you couldn't get vinyl records. It fell out of fashion a little bit, so therefore it didn't get reported or written about, but it's always been around. So, you know, any help, any bit of promotion was always good. Commercial scene, say with music, you know, the Pop Idol, the X Factor, the Simon Cowell stuff, there's always been a place for that. You know, some of it's great. I love pop music. I've always loved ABBA, for instance. Like, you know, now they've been thought of as a, you know, as something of quality rather than just pop. But there's always a place for pop music. It's great. You know, I never belittle anybody's taste in music. If it does it for them, brilliant. There's so much chucked at people via, you know, 24/7. There's, especially with modern technology, which I love. I think it's great. I don't buy into it. I don't own a computer. Don't know how to use a computer. Last thing I used was a Commodore 64. I got really good at a game called Uridium, but that's only because it had a joystick. There's been a resurgence, like there was in the late 70s and various other times, in independent record companies. There's a lot of really great little independent record companies concentrating on certain styles of music, putting out records by certain small acts, you know, like the record that I've just done the photograph, the cover for. It's a record label called Fruits de Mer, run by a real nice chap called Keith. You know, he runs it from his house, basically. He's got a network of really great friends, people in bands, puts out CDs, records, 7-inch singles. He's quite world known, you know, internationally known. Social media, digital technology helps with that. You can get directly to people anywhere else. It's one of the positive things about digital technology. You know, it's not the tools that are the problem, it's how we use them. And that's a side of technology that's been used very well, which has changed the music business, I think, for the better, actually. It's been really good. And with my shop, it's made a big influence, because I now stock a lot more new release albums, brand new albums, than ever before. It's sort of 50-50. Half of it's second-hand, half of it's new stuff. And it's new stuff by small, independent, you know, the little guys who need promoting, need helping out. And I love that. You know, I'm a little guy. I've always wanted to be at the bottom of the ladder. I've never had any ambition to be top dog or make loads of money. It's nice to be at the small end of it and to be connected with that. It's sort of, it's much friendlier, much more real. Again, these all sound like cliches, but it's sort of true, you know. To my mind, it's in a healthy situation at the moment, a really healthy situation. If anything, the commercial side isn't so healthy. That's the bit that gets in the papers about how little major artists are paid for downloads and streaming, which, okay, is a shame. They're not making millions and millions anymore and having a big house in the country and rolling around in Rolls Royces. But then that, to me, is not what music's about.
So what are you listening to at the moment?
What I'm listening to at the moment is a band called Trans Am, and their new album, which doesn't come out, I think, until Monday or next Friday. Brilliant American three-piece. The bottom line is the music, you know, and again, people I'm close to, we'd all say we're not record collectors as such, we're music collectors. It happens to be that we like records. I like records. I like records A because they give good value for money. Plus, you know, the old things. You get a 12 by 12 sleeve. It looks great on the wall. It's a great picture. You might get a poster with it. You get all these bits and pieces with it. Initially, about just reminding people more than anything else, or maybe re-informing people that records are still being made. They're still out there. There are still record shops. You know, still shops selling vinyl records as well as CDs and everything else. You know, we haven't disappeared completely. It's got a more niche market, but then in a way that's sort of good. You know, I like that. You know, it's more of a specialist thing. When I started running a record shop, you know, in Bideford, you know, we were just a bunch of long-haired guys lounging around, not doing anything really, like, you know, like dropouts. But now I'm an upstanding member of the community with a skill.